Hello, my curlies. Erica here from Coils and Curls. Welcome back to another Frizz-Free Friday. This is Volume Part 2, The Blow Dry. We are moving on to the blow dry and how to get volume, especially if you have fine, thin hair. First thing about blow drying, when you have fine, thin hair, you have to use a low setting. You can't have it on high heat and you can't have it on a strong air. You've got to step it down and do it gently. What you want to do is like you do with certain cuts of meat, low and slow, my curlies, low and slow. But for the rest of us that have a thicker head of hair where we can afford to use high heat at the beginning just to force the curl in, that's what we do. I am clipped pretty much the same way I was last week, except for this extra clip here, which I did not do. I want to show you how to get the most curl possible, especially near the scalp. By the scalp, I see a lot of women, they walk around and they've got these great heads of curls, but then they've got this flat, straight part until their curls start. Okay, if that's what you're into, but I think most women would like to see their curls all the way to the scalp. It's just they don't know how to do it. I'm going to show you. It is 4:47 on a Sunday night. Cheers, my curlies. Did you think I'd forget? This is how you get your curls forced in all the way at the scalp. You tilt to the side, and then depending on how thick your hair is or what technique you want to use, there are two ways. One, take your fingers, grip the hair, and just gently lift it. And what that does is it forces that curl back in. Whether it's going to be super curly, probably not, but at least it's better than being straight and flat, right? I'm going to put it on medium heat with medium forced air. The other way is to gently cradle the curls in your hand, which is forcing that curl pattern in. I'm going to take the clip out for this one. Now, you see the wave? Not really a curl. Needs to be a little wet. It got a little dry, which will not help me in my endeavor.
If you have trouble cradling the top layer, put your fingers in just a little to separate those top curls. Then you'll be able to cradle and push those curls close to the scalp.
You allow it to cool off, and you see the difference. And that doesn't take much. It's a few seconds. Well, if you have super fine hair, then it should only take a matter of 60 seconds, if even that. If you have thicker hair like I do, it might take 1.5 to 2 minutes, and you can always step it up to higher heat to make it curl faster. Now, to get the hair off the scalp, that's the goal for achieving volume. The most important part is getting it off the scalp. Will it stay that way? No, because everyone's hair falls. Well, unless you're in your 20s or 30s. I don't think mine ever fell. Nowadays, my hair falls. So as an aging curly, as a maturing curly, all right, you may have to flip your head over a couple of times a day and gently volumize and bring yourself back up and just give a little shake. But the alternative is much worse. I'm going to take out the rest of the clips, because when you flip over, and especially if you have fine hair, you will find that the clips will move and they will come down the hair shaft, and then you no longer have curls near your scalp. Now, my hope, my curlies, is that this is a better vantage point. You're kind of down on the level of my head now. time for the blow dry. If you want to tighten your curls, this is why you gently cradle them while you're hitting them with heat. You're not closing your hand around them. That prevents the heat from actually getting to the hair. You don't want to squeeze your hand around them because that will break the cast. You just need to cradle and hit them with the heat. Just taking a plop down to talk to you for a moment. You can see the drying process and how it's going. I'm still very wet, but one thing I wanted to mention is when you're flipped over, please concentrate on the back of your head. Reason being is that if you leave it too wet, what'll happen is as the curls start to fall, they're heavy still with water and product, and they're going to pull your hair straight down in the back. Then you'll wind up with no volume in the back of your head because everything is going to be too wet. So make sure while you're drying, you make sure that you're cradling those curls at the crown, up here, as well as down below. If you have trouble bending over for too long, you can try to move side to side in order to dry those curls not in an upright position. I'll show you what I mean. Another trick is to take your fingers like claws, because you know I like to use my hands. And if you gently slide them in so that you're not cutting curls, but you're just lifting from the scalp, then you hit it with some heat. Now, because your fingers are open, the heat gets to the scalp. And now when I let go, look at that, very voluminous. I still feel like my back is very damp, so I'm going to flip over and keep drying on high. The first thing you do when you come back upright, my curlies, put those clips back in before your hair has a chance to fall. So stick them back in. Don't worry if anything is freaking out and going crazy. You'll deal with that. But right now, number one is to keep the height. So let's stick this back in. And it's different now. You don't have to be so specific like you were when your hair was wet. Now it's all just about keeping the hair in an upright position while it's cooling off. If you have very fine hair on this side and your hair won't stay, stick another clip in it, or I am going to show you another trick. Now at this point in the styling process, you want to make sure nothing is frizzing. You want to take a good look at it, my curlies. If that means getting up and close with a handheld mirror, I know I've mentioned buying a handheld mirror, and I hope some of you have. It's the only way to see what the back looks like. It's the only way to know if something needs to be more defined or smoothed. You have to be able to look at it. I took a look at mine. Everything seems to be okay, and the funny thing is, right here feels very fluffy. And when I say fluffy, I mean it feels like there is no definition. There's no control there. There's no crystallized cast. That's what I mean when I say fluffy. So take a look at this. When I look at it in my handheld mirror, it doesn't look frizzy. It seems to be defined, just not crunchy. And I'm getting to learn that not everything has to be the diva crunch. Things can feel a little bit softer and still give you definition and control. But then again, there are so many more things on the market now than there were back when Diva started. It was Diva and Weedad back in 2003, 2004. That was it. Now there's a whole gamut of products around. Now that the hair is cooled off, you can take those clips out, and then we're going to see what needs to be tamed, what needs to be repositioned, what's laying a little bizarre that you don't really want to have that sticking out, although I'm telling you nobody else is going to notice but you. But yeah, I know, I get it. I'm a hairdresser. I always want my hair to look on point, if that's even the term that the kids are using. And if not, good. Let's take out the clips. This one. I'm possibly okay. This just looks so weird. Look at this. It does not know which way it wants to go. Do I care? If I cared, I would fix it. And I am going to show you my curlies how to fix it. And that's how much I love you all. You don't want to wet your face. You don't want to wet the rest of your hair. Your hand. So what I'm going to do is take it from where the curls started to look odd. And that was down here. Curls are weird. Curls do what they want. Sometimes they do what we want. Sometimes they don't. From where it started curling bizarrely, I'm going to wrap it around my finger and then hold it. You're going to put your blow dryer on the lowest possible setting. It's a little better. It's not perfect, but nobody is perfect. Nothing is perfect. And let me give you another little tidbit of information, my curlies. When you see these editorials of girls with curls and they are perfect, do not forget, they have hairdressers. They sit there for hours and these people smooth each individual curl so that it is to perfection. We are normal people. We are not models. We are natural curlies. And our curls are going to be out there. Some of our curls may be a little frizzed, and some of our curls may not be perfect. We're curlies. The editorials, the photography, the lighting, it's not real. And that's the one thing that I always have to remind people when they ask for a certain haircut or they show us photographs. You're looking at a photo shoot where a hairdresser worked on this curly for 2 hours to smooth every little hair. It's not realistic. My PSA for the day. It looks good enough for me. Now, what are we doing? We are decrunchifying right here somewhere, right here. My editor knows. Yes, I do, Erica. Thank you, editor. You're welcome. Okay, I'm silly. You know that about me, and that's why you like me. Today I'm going to be using the Olaplex number 7 to decrunchify the curls. Now remember, what volume you have right now, you'll be getting a little more once you flip over. That's when you're going to fluff. So we're going to apply it to the ends by very gently closing our hands around the ends. If after you have smoothed it and decrunchified it a little bit, if you have oil still left on your hands, then you know you have enough. In my case, my hands are pretty clean. I'm going to add a little more to the ends and to smooth the canopy before I flip over. Tilt to the side, gather the curls, and gently close your hand around them. Don't do this. You're ruffling the cuticle of the hair, and that will start your frizz. So it's just a smoothing and a closing of your hand around it to allow the hair to absorb the oil. That is the only objective right now, is to help break the crystallized cast and to help your hair absorb the oil. Now, it's time for the flipping and the fluffing. With the help of my videographer, we are going to change our vantage point. When you flip over, all you're going to do is gently jostle the hair. You see, I'm close to the scalp, but I'm not on my scalp. I'm not creating frizz from the scalp. So now I'm going to flip and you are going to get a very good close-up. And now you just scrunch to decrunchify anything and come back up. When you come back up, your hair might be looking a little crazy, but it's going to settle. Remember that. So if you have a good cut, all you have to really do is shake it, and you see how it settles itself in, and then you just have to do what you want, like pull this around your face a little more if you want some framing. Bring this because you want to see some of your curls around your face. And you see the volume. And the reason I have that volume is because all of my chunks have been disconnected. If I kept everything together, I would have no volume. And in fact, that might be one video to do for you. Now, there's one other trick that I wanted to show you. It is a trick. It's a trick from the 80s. When we wanted big hair, the 80s hair bands, I was part of that. We did not have the sock diffusers. All we had were those big clunky diffusers. But the one trick is that if you wanted volume, you would use the concentrator nozzle. I'm not saying to blow your hair all over my curlies. I am saying low forced air. You don't want your curls to go flying. This is how we used to get big hair. There you go. And that's how we got big hair in the 80s. You let it ruffle your cuticles so that your hair just kind of puffed. Well, my curlies, this has been another Frizz Free Friday. This is my 54th video. I have just celebrated my 1-year anniversary on YouTube. I would like to say cheers, my curlies. Thank you so much. Starting out from 0 1 year ago, and now I'm up to 277 subscribers. I thank everyone. I appreciate you. Don't forget, we need to get me to 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. My God, get watching my curlies, please. Cheers. And ciao for now. Volume part dos. Parto? How do you say it in French? I'm not even sure. Because your hair will dry too quickly. Can you see? I don't even know because the screen is small and I'm blind. Now my hope is that this is back to the blow dry. I wonder if I should do it like this for a little bit. If you have, let's get back here. So if you, in all honesty, I don't give a crap. You take your water bottle, you spray a little on your hands, not all over everything else. On your hands. And there you have it. Okay. 5:30, a little bit of scotch. Yeah, I'm silly. And sometimes they do what we want, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they feel like a nut, sometimes they don't. Enjoy's got nuts, mounds don't. Sorry. I do it all. I am woman, hear me roar. Sorry. Scotch is doing its job. As are the trucks. Don't do this because that ruffles the feather. I used to have parrots. I want to say ruffles the feathers. This was week 2, part 2 of Volume, the blow dry.